Yo, what's up, YouTube? Got the dog here. What's up, man? What's up, dude? Hello. What's up? But I'm working on getting unloaded here. Want to do another video for you about my experience in the infamous part of the trucking career where you got your license, you did the tests, you're starting your career, and you get your first job. And you're probably with a mega carrier. Maybe you're smarter and you get with a little smaller company, a little better outfit, maybe a little more money. And either way, you start your trucking career. It's something that I talked about in another video, talking about, my experience where you got to get with another trucker and you got to basically be OTR, living on the road with them for a few weeks. It's usually 1 to 3 weeks. It's just something that, from what I understand, the companies that I think has to do with insurance, but it's just kind of a thing with the industry where, I think we can all say that we've probably been through it. It's just a common thing. And it's just to get you that extra experience. And your trainer, the person you're with, from what I understand, at least the way it worked for me at Melton Truck Lines, they have a whole form and a checklist where they have to make sure that you know how to do certain things, that you've experienced it. Everything from pulling through a fuel island the right way to driving overnight. You got to do some night driving. You got to do some day driving. You got to do a certain amount of hours of driving with a trainer. I don't think that that's DOT regulated or anything. I think it's just kind of company policy. And it's just something that, it's kind of ceremonious. It's kind of a ceremony. It's like a sorority. I've mentioned that. It's just something that it's kind of special. It's something that I think everybody goes through. It's just an industry thing. And it's something that you can say that you've done. And when you do it, you don't have to do it again. At least hopefully not. Some of these carriers, few of them, like PTL, Pascal Truck Lines, I wanted to get a job with them, and I'd already been through all that and had like a year experience. They wanted me to drive with a trainer for way too long. Not only did they want me to drive with a trainer, but they wanted me to do it way too long. I was like, no, I'm not working with y'all. No, I'm not doing that again. A lot of folks dread it. I know I wasn't looking forward to it. I wanted to get through it as soon as possible. So I worked really hard leading up to that and during that to try and limit the amount of time. I wanted to try and get it done in less than 3 weeks. I did not want to be with a trainer for 3 full weeks. And if you work really hard and really show a lot of initiative and you get your stuff done, you might be able to get your trainer to pass you and get you on through a little early. So I did mine I think it was right at 2 weeks. I had really only done about a week and a half, really. And it was close to 2 weeks, though, by the time we ended up getting a load back to the yard to get my truck so I could go on my own way. But, you dread it because, a lot of folks get into trucking because you don't want to be around people. You don't want to work around people. And I know I was that way. And, living in close quarters with another driver, and you're taking the top bunk. You're going to probably have the top bunk. See, that's one bunk there, one bunk up there. Oh, man. It definitely creates its own challenges. And here's a big deal. While this dog comes on over here and wants to get some attention. But it creates its own challenges because, of all that and the personal stuff. But, you're going to be brought up to speed on the life of a trucker. You might have to sit next to your trainer while they're pissing in a cup. There's a lot of other things you might have to go through, and that's just part of the industry. My trainer did a good job on the personal stuff, and some stuff not so much. And I maybe could have done a little better with the actual training of doing flatbed and stuff. But, I was paired with a trainer. This is why my experience was a little on the negative side. Could have been worse. I made the most of it. But, my trainer was actually on his way out. he had committed that he didn't want to do any more driver training stuff. And then they said, hey, we found a good guy. I think you're going to be good. And they were talking about me. So, you know, they had faith in both of us. And, you know, we got the job done. But, you know, so I got with them. And I had actually went back home for something from Tulsa. Normally you take out straight from Tulsa with Melton Truck Lines with a trainer right there in Oklahoma and go out. So the trainer will get a load coming to Oklahoma, Tulsa, and pick you up. My situation was a little different. I needed to go home for something important. And so I went back to Georgia in my personal car. They ended up getting him paired up to where I met him in the other small terminal location they have in Birmingham, Alabama. So I had my mom drive me over to Birmingham and met him there, and then took off. Like I said, it was almost right at 2 weeks. It was like 1 or 2 days shy of 2 weeks, I think. And, you know, I just want to talk about my experience. As far as my experience goes, you know, in the beginning, it starts off where, or at least it should. And my trainer, he was really adamant about not trying to abuse me for him to make more miles. We definitely opened up a little bit there at the end where it could help him get more miles, because they get paid the miles, even the miles that you drive. You get a flat rate, a daily pay rate, which is low, but that's part of the industry. It's part of paying your dues. You know, for better or for worse, it is what it is. It's one of the things that the carriers make money on, but, you know, at any rate, you know, it's just something we've all been through. It's kind of a ceremony deal. It's kind of part of the whole special thing about it, to be honest. And, you know, my experience, you know, it starts out, he was real adamant about, like I said, he's going to drive the miles. He's not trying to abuse me by making me drive all day or all night and then him drive too. And he wanted to do a good job of training me. He wanted to not abuse me, and I respected that. And he did a good job on that. You know, but my personal experience, man, you know, it starts where he was driving his normal clock. We weren't running too hard. It was pretty low key. It wasn't too bad. It was actually a good experience, just riding in the passenger seat and letting him drive. This went on for a few days, I think, a day or two maybe. And then I started driving, and he started out, you know, that's another part of it, is you get brought up to speed on how much you're going to work. You got to work that muscle. You may not be used to driving, you know, 8 or 11 hours a day. You may not be used to working 70 hours a week. You may not be used to, you know, all of that stuff that comes along with it. So it's about working that muscle. It's about kind of easing into it in the right way. And I'm really thankful and proud that he did that. And, you know, we deliver our first load, I think, the next day. So I got the experience of, you know, untarping a load with him. He was showing me, and he did a good job in the beginning. He ended up falling off a little bit. But, you know, he did a good job in the beginning of really not trying to abuse, you know, me in that kind of way, and also trying to teach me. And he was good and slow in the beginning. It did kind of, because what ended up happening is he was actually not wanting to do the trainer stuff, but then while I'm with him, he's wanting to actually leave the company. He's wanting to do something else. So he kind of ended up, by the end of the first week, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. But that's where I started taking over more anyway. I still wasn't really abused. It's just kind of the normal run-of-the-mill stuff. He did a good job on all that. But definitely fell off a little bit on the training stuff. We could have definitely, you know, had more experience and more with the tarping and stuff. I definitely needed more. I know that. You know, I was pretty good on the securement, you know, of the loads. But, you know, he runs through the whole thing of learning how to check in at places and stuff like that. All the extra stuff that we do that we don't get paid for. And, you know, that was, you know, I was good that whole first week. It wasn't too bad. For one, I wasn't working a whole lot. I wasn't driving a whole lot. It was all right. And then the second, as we get into week 2, which was really the start of, like, like 7 days or something of being there. Man, and we did this in the summertime. And, you know, he was a particular type of guy that really liked a warm climate. Let me tell you. And the top of the bunk gets really, really warm. And it's summer. So, we were in a Freightliner, and man, let me tell you, we didn't have APU. Let me tell you, the top of that bunk, it got warm. It was not that comfortable. But we managed. We got through it. Definitely not to my comfort level necessarily, but, you know, it's just something you fight through. You know, and when we started that, essentially week 2, I started definitely at a certain point, it started falling off for me. I was definitely not enjoying being in the truck with someone else. It wasn't even really personal, but just in general. And, but you're just fighting through it. You just know, man, you're just going to fight through it, man. It's going to be over before long. And, you know, that's really what it was. So it was just kind of easing into the driving. You do more and more. You got to mix in the night driving. You got to make sure he's checking off, make sure you know how to fuel up the truck and the diesel and the def, and you know, some little things here and there. And you know, I think he hooked me up with my first shower. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if he hooked me up with, because when you first start, truckers, we get our showers at truck stops, and we get our showers by when we fuel up. We get a certain amount of fuel at a stop, you get a free shower. So certain places it's 50 gallons, certain places it's 60 gallons. And once you get that, past that amount of gallons in fuel on a fill up, you get a free shower on your account when you have your account with them. And, you know, part of it was signing up for all that process of getting the accounts with the different truck stops and getting my cards with them, my members cards. And, you know, he did a good job helping me out, set that, you know, letting me know about it at least. And I think he might have hooked me up with my first shower. And, you know, because when you're first starting, you're not filling up on your fuel card. You have no free showers. You're relying on others. Matter of fact, there was one time I was at a truck stop, and it kind of looked like a rookie driver, maybe with a trainer. He was going to come in and pay for, these days the showers are like $14 to $20, usually about, you know, $18 or so. I was like, man, I got an extra free shower. Here you go, bud. You know, and that's kind of the thing. If you're a veteran driver, make sure you take care of folks. If somebody needs a shower, I try to do it every now and then when the opportunity presents itself. Try to have some extra showers on your card, and if you need them, or if somebody else, you know, it's a good deal. Pay it forward like that. Really helps, especially at the beginning, because you're not making much. And sometimes these drivers are getting abused. The trainers are out here running them a full day, and then that they, as the trainer, are driving their full clock, so the truck is just teeming. It's just running almost nonstop. And, you know, they do that because they make more money doing that. Anyway, so that was my experience. I missed my dog. My dog was at the house. And, you know, you have limited belongings. You can't bring much. You shouldn't bring much. I even brought too much. You really don't need that much. You definitely, I would say you need less than you think you do. And we made it work, though. And, you know, enjoy that. You know, it's kind of that ceremonious deal, man. You know, it's like a sorority, I'm telling you. You know, it's something that we share. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you soak it up. I hope that you don't get taken advantage of or abused too much. And I hope it goes well for you if you're in that. So if you learned something, leave a like. Maybe I'll leave the comments open for you to share your experiences. And if so, then leave your comments below, or your questions. And, you know, leave a like and share the video. Definitely trying to get some engagement going. So I appreciate you being engaged. I hope you learned something. And I hope it treats you well. So take care. We're outie. Later.